Some thoughts on the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base and what now. Before Game 7, I thought if I was to go into that dressing room, what I would say to all of those players is this is not a home game. These are not your fans. That's what I would tell them. These are not your fans. This is not a home game. You are at a away game right now. Do not be fooled by the cheers, by the blue and white, by all the craziness. This is not a home game. Go out there, close your minds off, and do this for yourself. Because it's no coincidence Toronto's losing record in the playoffs at home. Fans are passionate. Yes, I couldn't believe how diplomatic all the players are about it. But I couldn't believe that fans would be throwing their jerseys and beers on the ice in the second period. Well, they didn't. I don't think they started that. They started booing in the second period, but I can't believe that they were doing that while the game was still going live. I get there's frustration, but this is also why those are the professional athletes, and this is why I love sport, is because it's a microcosm for life. No one cares more about them winning than the players. Nobody's putting in as much effort as the players. Nobody's working day in and day out. Nobody's going to training camps, thinking about it, putting in the work, the mental aspect. And when it gets to the people that have been there for the last several years, they've been there and having to face this and overcome doubt, etc. So nobody gets it or wants it more than them, but it sure doesn't make it easier. And Paul Maurice said it in the post-game press conference about, obviously, they're going to get torn apart here. And Matthew Tkachuk said it on Spittin' Chicklets the other day. Like, I feel bad for those guys. Like, they would be such a good team if they weren't in this city with all of this pressure. And sure, sports, part of being a professional athlete is having to deal with the pressure. But the team or the fans are the extra player on the ice. So yeah, when there's still half a game left and you're booing, like, how much did that affect them mentally for the second half of a whole game to come back from 3 goals? They stepped up to the plate despite it. Domi stepped up and obviously deflated right away. Yeah, of course. But man, yep, they didn't have a fighting chance. Yep, they came out super weak. Yep, they just did not show up. They needed to wake the F up in that first 10 minutes, and they did. They did the second half of that first 10 minutes, and other Panthers players said, yep, they were concerned after the end of the first, no matter how strong they came out in the first half of it because of how strong they were. Anyways, a couple of other thoughts here. Talking about it being a microcosm for life, and Toronto Maple Leafs fans, like, why do you think Toronto, yes, they haven't won for how many years? Yes, the playoff records is like, it's been horrible. Yes, it's been disappointing. I've already addressed the fans thing. But again, the microcosm for life of, like, when we get, stuck in our own problems and everything going on with us. And so often there is someone else going through something so much worse. Like, what about the other teams who've barely made playoffs in years? What about the Blue Jackets? What about the Ducks? What about the Sharks? What about the Blackhawks? Like, how they feel over the last bit? What about Winnipeg Jets topping the league and then having to exit in also, a close game? What about Vancouver? Like, the list goes on. And there's going to be fans that feel the same way, about their team. And again, like, life, win or lose. I've talked about this about my own races and stuff. It's like, win or lose, it's always on to the next. It's always on to the next. And I know how much the city wants it. I won't know how much the players want it. Um, but even if they win it, it'll be on to the next. If they don't make the playoffs, or if they come up short the next year, yeah, maybe fans will be tempered by it, a little better. But people will be right back at hating them again in 2 years, because there's a culture that's built on now doubt and this whole shtick. Like, memory is so short. Like, Canadian, the Team Canada won Four Nations just 3 months ago. Was it 3 months ago? Like, that was amazing. We needed it. People in Canada felt like, that was, I felt it, the energy, it was needed. And to think about how different that would feel, because people are emotionally invested, because people care. But again, it just like goes back to self-awareness and our emotions, and letting emotions rule, throwing jerseys on the ice and beer on the ice and quitting before something is done. Fans, players, and games in life. And yeah, it would certainly be hard to win in your own home when your family doesn't believe in you. When you know that, no matter how much cheering there is at the start, because you know that if you get down, the players know it's coming to, and they've done such a good job at blocking it out, throughout this year, throughout this season, and at times in the playoffs. But like, do you not think that would affect them, not just in this game 7, when there's half a game left in the second period and there's booze? I get that people are frustrated, but man, that's people just not being present. That's people living in the past. And the players that weren't woken up and playing to their best, like, they were also living in the past of repeating the past, or living in the future of a decided outcome that hasn't happened yet. And that's what makes sports beautiful, because they give us these opportunities to look at life, look at our feelings, look at our emotions, how we deal with challenges, how we deal with obstacles. And Brad Marchand, he said it post-interview too, like, this is an amazing team, and people are judging this team based on the last 7 years or whatever. And I get that the core four have been there for a while, and I'm going to talk about, like, yeah, changes now and where from here. But like, if you were just looking at this team in this present moment and how good they are, truthfully, I don't think that they were a Stanley Cup winning team yet. I feel like there are two main things. There's the skills and the numbers, and then there's the belief. Like, if you look at all the teams that in the playoffs, who's left are teams that pretty much are the best. Like, my Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars, Florida Panthers, those are the teams that I think could have won the cup. Winnipeg, if they kept it going, but then there's the belief factor, because they haven't done it yet. There's a hump to overcome. They've got a tough fan base too, that is passionate, and so they have a lot of emotions and doubt. Oilers also have to deal with it, and I would say that they're not the best on paper, because of the goaltending isn't, they're doing great for the situation, but I mean, it's not Ottinger, it's not Freddie Anderson, who was also, kicked out of Toronto, and Bobrovsky, who also has definitely soft moments, but they have some belief. Anyways, no matter what, you got to deal with the pressure, because it's sport, and the players of Toronto now and however long ever more are going to have to deal with an immense more pressure. So where do the changes go? I think my very first question, maybe not today, but when it's time to make those decisions, would be to every single player: do you believe that you can win here? No matter what comes out of their mouth, reading them and their emotions to truly see, and what their play showed throughout, the playoffs as well. Do they believe? Do they rise to the occasion? I think, for example, like Willie Nylander is a definite yes. Ty Domi raises to the occasion. Tanev, I think Nyes, but like you can see the guys that really rise to the moment. I think Austin Matthews was dealing with something, but I don't know. But you know, who knows? Like if his belief isn't there, if he's too broken down emotionally by it and worn down, and it's not really about him, he's going to keep on going. It's because of the situation in Toronto and everything surrounding. Um, yeah, I wonder if he'll stay, or if he'll get traded, or who knows? Who knows? I think they're so close, and it could be tweaks. And there is a part that thinks, oh, yeah, emotionally, it's just time to rebuild. It's time to just, all right, this didn't work. Let's scrap these assets, and maybe that's what's going to happen. But it's not because that's what's needed on paper for what the skill has. I, I think they're tweaks away. They're a leadership position in the room away from having a couple pieces that can carry this team. Like Stolarz was incredible. Like Joseph Wall did his best, and he had a great game 6, but he generally hasn't been as consistent and as great as Stolarz. We didn't have the top our number one goalie playing. Like these things happen. Things in life happen. It keeps going on. It keeps going on. So non I mean, you have to always consider the emotional component and all of that too, but like, yeah, a couple of pieces. Ironically, Brad Marchand's a free agent. Toronto fans hate him. How crazy would that be if they signed him, tried to sign him? Like he spoke great things about the Toronto team. Yeah, he's from here. He thinks highly of them. That's the kind of player that comes in with, like a Corey Perry with experience. They bring leadership. They bring confidence. They bring something to the room, just like other guys in the past, at least like Joe Thornton, was a gem, and Patrick Marleau. Like, that's there's been a lot of really good teams, and not maybe enough to go all the way. But again, perspective, like 32 teams, 31 are going to be upset every year. And yeah, anyways, still always have to rise higher to overcome the challenges. You got to keep on always going. Have to reset. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think there's a lot of telling in the general population of people, where self-awareness, learning how to understand our emotions, and not act out of emotion constantly, being able to believe, be resilient, and believe in mindset and confidence and all of this kind of stuff. It just obviously shows where people in general need the work, because if that's how it is about a game, obviously, yeah, life. Anyway, thanks for listening to my thoughts.